there's been a lot of concerning stuff that's come out from the last few days through the interactions between West Ham United and the stadium ownership group. There's a lot of it I want to discuss here. I think the one thing that stands out above everything else was Karren Brady pleading for a meeting from somebody that works in the same building as her. Let's just let that sink in for a second here. Apparently, and I paraphrase here, the meeting had been requested for about 2 months because the redacted transcripts have come out. It's Karren Brady saying, can we please have a meeting? I sent you a message 2 months ago. Now, is everybody in that building all of the time? No. But West Ham United, as part of the tenancy agreement, have office space within the building, as do the stadium operators. I know, I've been there, and I don't just mean on match day. I've been there. I've been in the West Ham offices in the stadium. I have been in the stadium operation offices in the stadium. It's a crazy situation where you have these two separate entities there. But I couldn't help, when I listened to that, and imagine two people in a house not speaking to each other. Two people in a sound like a divorce, doesn't it? You know, communicating to one another through a third party. But I thought it was absolutely horrendous when I heard it. And it made me think of a lot of things. I think the first thing is one of my favourite sayings about knowing the price of everything and the value of nothing. I don't want to go too far over the disagreement which Gio covered yesterday, the disagreement with how much commission we should pay the LLDC for the purchases of the shares that were made by Daniel Kretinsky. There was an agreement in place that if the stadium was seen to have inflated West Ham's value and West Ham sold any shares as a result, a proportion of that would go towards the stadium, would go back to the taxpayer. Basically, West Ham bought some sold some shares. Daniel Kretinsky, we paid what we thought was the correct amount of commission. LLDC are saying no, that's not right. That's not enough. That's what the dispute is. If you want to know more, go and watch Gio's video yesterday. I'm sure you have already. But it's that bit there. It's about the price of everything. Knowing the price of everything and the value of nothing. The club probably know the price that they should be paying for those shares or for commission for those shares, but they don't really understand the value of a relationship. And that's the point here. Because it just seems that any goodwill has totally and utterly evaporated. It's very easy, being a West Ham fan, to look at it from the West Ham point of view. It really is. But actually, if you look at it from the stadium operator's point of view, you can understand how it must be very, very difficult to work with West Ham United. Because just sometimes the deal, and West Ham have got an excellent deal. Gio mentioned it yesterday, it was called the deal of the century. But sometimes the deal is too good that actually you leave somebody completely unmotivated and unwilling to do business with you any longer, to such a point that you can even be in the same building and they don't want to talk to you. Gio asked a question in yesterday's video. He said, how would any potential new owner go about buying the stadium? Well, if we put the legalities of buying a public building to one side, and I've had somebody confirm that they'll clear that up for me, just by already negotiating or dealing with Pi Capital, actually the stadium ownership group have already shown that they're willing to deal with somebody that's going to take over West Ham United. They're just not willing to deal with Karren Brady, or so it seems. When you talk about this good deal, I'll tell you what it reminds me of. I don't know if you watch boxing at all. Even if you don't, you probably heard of Tyson Fury, right? Tyson Fury is the champion of the world. Well, he's one of the champions of the world. It's complicated with boxing. There's not just one champ. Well, the thing is, there could be one champ. Because the other champion of the world, the one that holds some of the other belts, he's willing to fight Tyson Fury. And we heard that Tyson Fury was willing to fight him. And if they both fight, we get to find out who the champ is. I'm going to get somewhere. This is a bit tenuous. Follow me with this, if you wouldn't mind, because it does come back to West Ham. Basically, they were meant to have an agreement. It was going to be 50-50 in terms of the split of the money that they would receive. And then Tyson Fury thought, you know what? I think I'm worth a bit more than this other guy, this other champ. I'll tell you what about 60-40 in my favour? And then the other guy turned around and said, okay, I'll give you 60-40. That wasn't enough for Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury thought, oh, there's more of a deal here. I can have a bit of a better deal. What about 70-30? And the guy thought, okay, I'll take it. I want to fight. It's been good to find out who the real champ is. 70-30. At that point, let's be honest, Tyson Fury had a really, really good deal, didn't he? I mean, 70% you get it's most of the money. Can we agree on that? 70% is most of the money. Wasn't enough for him, though. So there was some small print, some other peripheral issues, and Tyson Fury went and pushed. Actually, let's tweak that a little bit as well. So actually, if we have another match in the future, I want to take the lion's share of that as well. And in the end, even though the deal was excellent, Tyson Fury pushed it too far. And so now he's getting 70% of nothing. And sometimes you can just push a deal too far. And that's what I look at when I look at the stadium. Because here's the thing. We have such a good deal with the fact that we only pay 2.5 million, 2.5 to 3 million a year in rent. That's really good. We literally don't have to pay to switch the lights on. Now you can imagine, right? You know what your electricity bill's like at the moment. You know what mine's like. Imagine what the electricity bill is for the stadium at the moment, something like that. The costs have gone up. West Ham don't pay for the electricity in there. West Ham don't pay for the stewards, and there's loads of them, right? The moment you walk out of Stratford Station, you are hit with a tsunami of people in high-vis jackets. Someone's got to pay for them. Apparently there are over 1,000 stewards on match day. They're everywhere. Just separate whether you think they're good or bad stewards. Just separate whether, regardless, your personal opinion, if we can just concede, because I know a lot of us are not happy with the stewarding at the stadium. If you just concede that there are lots of them, someone's got to pay for them. Well, that's not West Ham. The stadium pay for that. The stadium paying for the clean-up bill. They pay for absolutely everything. Basically, and yes, they do get catering money, but even that's run by a firm called Delaware North. I won't bore you with it. The stadium doesn't make much money out of catering, truth be known. That was another mistake. Is it their mistake? Yes, it is their mistake. They signed a bad deal. But how long are we going to keep pushing and saying, you signed a bad deal, you owe us, and then basically keep telling someone, again, it's the price of everything, the value of nothing. So we keep pushing and we keep pushing and we keep pushing, and in the end, they've closed down. We're Tyson Fury. The other guy's name is Alexander Usyk, by the way, and in the end, they just don't want to deal with us anymore. So you get this preposterous situation where you've got two people working in the same building and don't want to speak with each other. And at that point, so apparently we've paid, in terms of commission, £2.5 million for the Kretinsky shares. Apparently, the taxpayer want a little bit more because the stadium's making huge losses. About 20 million a season, basically. And we might have saved ourselves. We probably should have paid them 5-6 million, something like that. Have we saved ourselves £2 or £3 million for West Ham? Yes, I'm sure we have. Well done us. However, that's coming back to bite us on the arse now. Because actually, they no longer want to deal with us. Because they see us as penny pinching. And whilst their bills keep going up and up and up and up and up, we're giving them no more money and they're running at a loss. And it's not just the stadium. The money has to come from somewhere. You know where that money comes from? It comes from the mayor's kitty. I don't mean cat. I don't mean Sadiq Khan's cat. When I say the mayor's kitty, right, the mayor of London basically has a budget. It comes out of that. And so you can understand the appetite from Londoners to keep paying for this stadium. I mean, let's be fair, there's probably all sorts of frontline services which are underfunded at the moment. Yet, there it is. The money, basically, should be allocated towards the capital. Some of it, sometimes over 20 million each season, is going to bail out West Ham just because somebody signed a bad contract. Now, West Ham could show a little bit of goodwill. If we'd have shown a little bit more goodwill at the start, then maybe, just maybe, now we need something from them, which is what we do. Maybe if we'd have shown a little bit more goodwill, a little bit of flexibility, when I don't know the ins and outs of it, and I don't claim to. Okay, I'm just going by the information that we've got. As I say, some of this information was redacted, of course. But if we'd have shown a little bit more goodwill, maybe when we wanted something, they'd have been a little bit more pliable. Maybe they'd have turned around and said, you know what, yeah, we'll do that for you because you did us a favour. But now it's shut down. You get the impression, and no one's actually going to say this, but they probably don't like West Ham at all. And what a situation that is. The people running the stadium don't like West Ham. You get the impression that they find West Ham impossible to deal with. And we might be impossible to deal with. That's the thing. Because you might act the same way. If someone had ripped you off, you felt that they'd ripped you off, but actually it looked legally, no, they haven't, and they keep on holding you to the small print. And basically they had their foot on your neck the whole time, and they kept on pressing, they kept on pressing, they kept on pressing. There might come a time where they need a favour from you, where they need a little bit of goodwill. So I'm not at all surprised if right at the moment, when West Ham are saying to the stadium operators, excuse me, can you do us a favour? The stadium operators are saying, no,